All right. So your mission basically from this point forward is to commit to at least 1 or 2 tips that we're going to discuss today, or that's on your sheet. And then as you master those tips, you're going to take on an additional tip, basically until you're mastering the whole list. Okay? Maybe you're looking at the list and you're like, I already do all of this stuff. Great. Renee has other challenges, nutrition challenges that you might want to look at. Again, you can come see me for additional challenges. So just let us know what you need. And then, of course, there was a handout out there. Did everybody get 2 handouts? No? Okay. Let me know if you didn't after class. I'll get that to you. So there's one about tips, and then there's another one about goal setting. It's really important to have goals when you first start the program. You can always tweak those goals if they're not working out, or you're finding that they're not appropriate, whatever, but it's a good plan of action to have goals. All right, I'm going to start with the food journal thing. I know some of you love it, some of you hate it, maybe it's both. It's non-negotiable for this program, right? All of your trainers are going to be looking at your food journals. It's a huge piece of this, program. Why? It shows exactly what you're eating. Well, okay, that sounds kind of, well, of course it shows what I'm eating. But the key here is to be detailed and be honest with yourself. Sometimes you feel like, oh, I don't want to write down that I had that. My trainer's looking at it. Well, you do want to write that down because the trainer needs to know how to help you. If you don't write it down, it's a blind spot. The trainer does not know how to direct you to make things better for yourself. It holds you accountable. It helps you plan your meals. Okay, so maybe you look in your food journal and you're like, geez, I didn't realize how there's such an imbalance in my dinner meals. I'm not getting enough protein, or it's too much carbs, or whatever. So it can kind of help you figure out how you need to plan. It shows you what you're missing. Again, maybe you think you have a really great intake of fruit and vegetables, and then you start going through your food journal like, oh, no I don't. I really need to up that. It helps you track your progress, and it helps you identify triggers. What I mean by that is your food journals, you can do whatever you want with them, but the more detail, the better. So if you write down the times you eat, that's going to be helpful. If you write down what you're feeling at the times that you eat, that's even more helpful. If you feel like you have any concerns with emotional eating, you would definitely want to write down whether or not you're angry, sad, bored, any of those things. Those can all be triggers for making inappropriate food choices. All right, so again, basically include everything. Portion sizes and servings are important, right? If you just write down that you had steak for dinner, well, was it 2 ounces? Was it 6 ounces? Regular or reduced fat. Again, your emotions, the time of day. Timing of meals can be very important. If you're eating breakfast at 6 a.m. and you don't get a lunch until 2 in the afternoon, well, that might explain why you're overeating by the time you eat at 2 o'clock, or why you're nibbling and snacking on candies or whatever in between. Where you are. So are you sitting in front of the TV when you're eating your meals? Who you're with. That can make a huge impact. If you're going out to eat every Friday and Saturday night and you're with a group of friends that, maybe it's a little bit more peer pressure, they want you to drink, whatever. All of these things contribute. All right, the other important point is to avoid starvation, and I do see this with a lot of people's food journals that you are under eating. So that might seem unusual, and most people think, well, I'm always overeating. I see a lot of food journals under 1,000, under 1,200 calories a day. That is really hard on your body for several reasons. You need to fuel your metabolism. Your body works like a car. If you don't give it fuel, your metabolism is not going to go. So you actually have to feed yourself in order for your body to burn calories. I do not recommend going under 1,200 calories for nearly anybody. If you're going to go under 1,200 calories, it needs to be a medically supervised program, which means you have to have your doctor involved. You should have a professional involved, such as a dietitian. So under 1,200 calories, it's kind of a non-negotiable thing. You want to make sure that you're feeling energized, motivated, and clear-headed. You don't want to be cranky this entire 12 weeks, right? So you want to make sure you're getting adequate amount of calories. You want to be able to complete your workouts. That's another huge thing. If you're coming into your workouts and you're not giving 100% and your trainer's yelling at you, and it's because you're starving, well, that's an issue. You're not cashing your check when you're coming in here to work out. And then, of course, it makes it really difficult to obtain adequate nutrition below 1,200 calories. It's hard to get adequate fiber, protein, fluids, vitamins and minerals, fat, carbohydrate. So I'm not saying that all of you need 1,200 calories. Some of you may need 15, 16, everybody's different. But again, that 1,200 calorie is really the bottom lowest. Keeping your energy levels up. We recommend eating about every 4 to 5 hours between meals. You can do snacks in between too, that's fine. This helps prevent crashes. So what I mean by crashes are like if you start to feel that slump in the afternoon, right? It helps prevent overeating. It inhibits cravings. It keeps you on top of your game. It keeps your mood more pleasant. So again, that 4 to 5 hours is your cutoff. Now, if you know you have to go from 6 to 2 o'clock between meals, it's a good idea to try to sneak a snack somewhere in the middle there. I'm just going to take a sip of water so my throat's getting dry. Okay, no skipping meals. That's another huge one that I see. Breakfast really does set the mood for the day. It helps boost your energy and it jumpstarts your metabolism. When you're sleeping, your metabolism slows down a little bit because you're not running around doing things, hopefully. So it is breaking the fast. You're jumpstarting things to get going. Lunch and dinner help keep your blood sugars stable. And what I mean by that is blood sugars don't just apply to people with diabetes. This applies to everybody. We all have a blood sugar level. When our blood sugars are doing this or slumping, that makes us feel really crummy. It makes us want to eat things we probably shouldn't be eating. You want your blood sugars to be doing something more like this. Little dips and peaks and valleys. It keeps your metabolism revved up. It prevents hunger and leading to poor food choices. All right. Many of you have seen the plate method. And we'll talk about what that looks like. You can go to choosemyplate.gov to get more information on that. It's basically a way to balance your meals to get all of your macronutrients, so your protein, carbs, and fat. It's also a good way to keep everything in portion control. The biggest thing I can tell you is try to include at least 3 of the 5 different food groups at each meal. You'll definitely want a protein at each meal. Protein takes longer for your body to break down. It's going to help you feel fuller. It's going to help with muscle repair between your workouts. So you always want to have protein at a meal. It can be a good idea to also have a complex carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are good for fuel. So as long as you are portion controlling your carbohydrates and picking the right types of carbohydrates, so fruits, vegetables, whole grains, those types of things, you're doing the right thing for your body. And then always, always try to include a fruit or a vegetable, in particular vegetables, at your meals. So this is kind of what the plate method looks like. If you divide your plate up in half, so 1/4 of your plate is for protein, about 1/4 of your plate is for your grains or your carbohydrates, and then you can do it one of 2 ways. You could either have all vegetables, or you could do fruits and vegetables. And then if you want, you can have a dairy on the side or save that for snack time. So that's kind of how you would divide it up. And everything, again, is portion controlled when you have it like this. Fruits and vegetables. I'm touching on this. I know it seems really elementary, but again, I look at so many food journals and I see a lack of fruits and vegetables, unfortunately. We need a bare minimum of 5 servings a day, okay? So if you're not meeting the 5 servings, work up to that, and then if you can go beyond that, even better. Closer to 9 servings a day is what they're starting to recommend. We need fruits and vegetables for antioxidants, so cell repair. It can be cancer fighting. It helps you look beautiful. It also gives you fluid, so it keeps you hydrated. It helps your metabolism to keep going when you're hydrated. And it also can give you energy. It also gives you fiber, so it helps sustain your energy. It keeps you fuller longer, and it gives you good carbohydrates for energy. And vegetables, non-starchy vegetables, are a really great way to fill up because they're so low in calories, and they take, they give you a boost of antioxidants, so they just work different in your body than our other carbohydrate sources. Okay, snacking is perfectly fine. You can have somewhere between 1 and 3 healthy snacks a day. I would put it around 100 to 200 calories per snack. And then of course it just depends on how it's going to fit into your meal plan, right? If you're at 1,200 calories a day, okay, you might only be able to do 1 snack or so. If you're at 1,500 calories a day, you might be able to do 2 snacks. So you'll kind of have to work that out a little math-wise. Snacks can help keep our energy levels consistent. So again, especially if you're going a long chunk of time between breakfast and lunch, snack can really help keep things, going. So examples: string cheese, whole fruit or fruit packed in its own juice, low-fat cottage cheese, unsalted nuts, sunflower seeds, whole wheat crackers, Greek yogurt, skim milk, soybeans, unsalted popcorn, peppers and hummus, peanut butter and celery. Excuse me guys, getting really dry up here. Okay, I want to talk about triggers. That's another big one for a lot of us. Keep your food triggers out of sight, okay? So if you like your sweets, if you like your potato chips, those types of things, I'm not saying you can't ever have those again, but it's better to keep them out of sight. And then if you're really having one of those days where you feel like you gotta have it, then you've got to take those extra steps to go to the store, get in the car, actually go get those things, okay? Replace your trigger foods with healthier alternatives. So if you like candy, try to do more fruits or homemade trail mixes. Chocolates, try to do dark chocolates. Put bits of that into your oatmeal or, again, your trail mixes. You can substitute ice cream with yogurt or banana ice cream. So there's lots of recipes out there on Pinterest, and you can just Google them, where you just take bananas, a little bit of almond milk, some peanut butter, blend it up, freeze it, and eat it like ice cream. You can substitute chips with popcorn. Emotional eating. We will really touch on this, I think in December we'll talk about it, but I do want to mention it now because for a lot of us, emotional eating is a huge factor, especially for those of you who feel like you know exactly what you need to be doing nutrition-wise, but bridging the gap is really the issue. So, add this to your logs. Again, I don't care what you're feeling, just put it down. Bored, sad, angry, frustrated, whatever, put it down. The more you let your trainer know, the more they can help you. And you'll be able to help yourself too if you can see what's going on. This will help you identify triggers and patterns. So like if every day at 2 o'clock you're frustrated, well, okay, there's a pattern going on. Realize that food is not your companion or a comfort. It might feel like that when, as you're eating that food, but I think most of you know who've gone through that, 15 minutes later it's like, oh, why did I do that? So alternatives to emotional eating. These are, again, it's not an all-inclusive list, but you can call a friend. You can write things down, even if you toss it right in the garbage. Sometimes getting your thoughts down is helpful. Of course, coming here and exercise. Read a book, do a project or craft. Anything that's more productive that will get you away from eating your trigger food. Hydration is another huge one, and maybe you even start here. Maybe you're like, oh, I'm so overwhelmed with all the things I need to change nutrition-wise. So maybe you start with water, just making sure that you're getting adequate fluids in your diet. Adequate hydration helps your metabolism run efficiently. If you are dehydrated and you're coming in here and working out, your metabolism isn't working up to its full potential. So again, you're not cashing your checks. It helps with your energy levels, Everybody's hydration needs are different. You can aim for 8 cups a day. You can also use the whole rule of thumb. It's your body weight, divide that in half, and that's how many ounces a day you should be drinking. Everybody's is a little bit different, but those are 2 ways that you can kind of estimate. And then of course too, if you're coming in here and you're doing really hard workouts, you're gonna need more fluids on those workout days. Sources of fluids, it doesn't all have to be water, especially if you just really are not a big fan of water. You can do low sodium broth, unsweetened tea, low sodium vegetable juice, skim milks, waters. If you don't like plain old water, you can add sliced fruit to the water. You could do like a seltzer water, that type of thing, you know, to get a little fizz. So any of those would be fine. Excess calories from beverages. So just to show you the difference here, whole milk versus skim milk is about a 70 calorie difference. That doesn't seem like much, but if you're drinking 3 glasses a day, well, 70 times 3, okay, that's, you know, that adds up to about a half a pound a week if you're doing that every day. It would behoove you to do more whole fruits versus juice. There's not a big calorie difference, but juice, 1 serving is only 4 ounces, and that's not a whole lot. I mean, that's, you know, I'm eyeballing it here, but, you know, about this much, which is a gulp for some of us. So if you're able to eat the whole fruit's going to have more fiber, it takes longer to eat, it's just a little more satisfying. Regular soda, again, it depends on the brand and the flavor, but a lot of them are around 130 calories. That's a huge chunk of calories you can get of right there if you can switch to either diet or just none at all. You can try seltzer water with a splash of 100% juice, ice cold water with sliced fruit. And then again, if you switch to diet soda, I do recommend trying to get off that eventually as well. Alcohol has 7 calories per gram, so just a point of reference, carbohydrates have 4 calories per gram, fat has 9 calories per gram, so 7 is on the higher scale there. We metabolize alcohol differently, unfortunately. Our body recognizes alcohol as a toxin. So just sitting here right now, all of our bodies are burning calories from fat. If we were to have a little bit of alcohol, that fat burning would get put on the back burner so that our body could get rid of the alcohol. So essentially your body is going into fat storage mode when you're drinking alcohol, just FYI. Also the calorie content, as I'm sure all of you know, goes up when you have mixed drinks, right? If you're going to do a Jack and a Coke, well obviously we've not only got calories from the Jack, but we've got calories from the regular Coke. And then it decreases your inhibitions, right? So we tend to want to snack on things when we're drinking, you know, if we're out, it's chips, it's, you know, all sorts of things. So, not that you can't drink alcohol, it's just please use it responsibly. And more or less is more. Okay, sleep. Why do we want to talk about sleep with nutrition? Well, again, everything kind of is hand in hand. Sleep has a lot to do with regulating our appetite hormones. So if we're not getting enough sleep, our appetite hormones may be imbalanced all over the place. So appropriate sleep also alleviates stress, which can help, stress can lead to inappropriate portion sizes in snack foods, right? So the more stressed out, the more we tend to make just really inappropriate food choices. Or undereat, which is also not good for ourselves. All right, so a lack of sleep is linked to a decrease in leptin, which is the hormone that helps you feel satisfied after you eat, and an increase in ghrelin, which is an appetite stimulant. So again, if you've got that appetite stimulant going up and your appetite suppressant going down, that's not a good recipe. Planning and beyond. We'll talk about meal planning as a specific topic later in the program, but again, some words on this now. Meal planning is huge for a lot of people. So, you know, if it's not emotional eating, meal planning is usually where I see the gap with people. You want to do it to set yourself up for success. I think all of us know that if we don't do meal planning, like on the weekend or whatever, you know, by Wednesday it's like, what am I gonna eat now? Right? So, if you have picky family members, I know this sounds frustrating and it sounds a lot easier than it is, but try to sit down with them 10-15 minutes, try to get some food preferences so you can see who you know, can you please the most amount of people in your house, right? So that you're not all eating separate meals. Take inventory of what you already have in your closet. That'll help save on waste and money. So if you've already got 3 jars of spaghetti sauce, you know, maybe you start there with some type of spaghetti dish. Seek sales and coupons if budget is an issue for you, which I think most of us, you know, we want to have a budget. Conduct a weekly menu. That can be, you know, a really easy way to start. So maybe you start with 3 to 5 recipes or even 1 to 2 recipes and build upon that until you have like a, you know, a little binder of recipes you can choose from. And you may want to do a cycle. I know this is really old-fashioned, but it can really cut down on the guesswork. Monday night is spaghetti night, Tuesday night is, I don't know, turkey, you know, whatever. So every night has a designated night, so it just takes the guesswork out of it for you, or whoever's doing the meal planning in your house. Okay, so yeah, we have a Pinterest page for recipes if you're interested in that. ChooseMyPlate.gov has all sorts of worksheets on calorie meal plans. Goal setting. So with your goal setting sheets, and again, if you didn't get one, just let me know. Be clear, specific, and time-bound with your goals. Sometimes I'll ask people, a lot of people, what your goal is. Okay, well, I want to lose weight. Okay, how much do you want to lose? By what, you know, what is your deadline? Do you want to lose weight by, you know, next year, next summer? Do you want to do it by the end of the year? If you have a deadline in mind, you're more likely to meet that deadline. How much weight do you want to lose? You know, that, again, telling me you want to lose weight really means nothing to me. You could want 5 pounds, you could want 25, I don't know. So you want to be specific with these things. Make sure your goal is challenging but also attainable. Yes, you want to challenge yourself, but if you want to lose 30 pounds by next week, okay, maybe not as reasonable or attainable, right? But maybe if, you know, if it's 5 pounds in the next week and a half or whatever, okay, a little more reasonable. If your goal is not met, don't change the goal as long as it's still the goal you want. Just change the method or the strategy. So maybe your goal is to lose 20 pounds by the end of this program, okay, but you're not meeting those incremental goals. Change up the strategy. You know, are you getting here all the times you're supposed to be getting here with your trainer? Is there something nutrition-wise you can change up? So you don't have to like say, oh, well, I guess I'm only gonna lose 10. You know, really think about what you're doing strategy-wise to get to that goal. Supports are another huge thing. That's why we love the Biggest Loser program and we love having teams, because you guys, we make it so that you guys hopefully will lean on each other. I mean, it's great to have your trainer, or the dietitian, or Renee, or whoever. It's great to have us resources, but we're not going through this the way you are. Whereas, you know, if you're a team member, I mean, you guys have more in common because you're doing it together, you're going through it together. So, if you don't have family members that are supportive, hopefully you have team members that are supportive, or friends, or coworkers. There's also online forums, groups, and blogs all over the place that you can get involved in. I think MyFitnessPal has a forum or a blog or something. There's self-help books if you're looking for that. There's all sorts of apps out there that you can use. Of course, the Princeton Club staff, we hope that you'll come to us for resources and support. And then, yes, your fellow Biggest Losers. A word on diets. There's so many magic pills out there, but we really encourage you to avoid those things. And maybe some of you know from experience of trying to do these things. Unfortunately, I mean, magic pills, basically, they will work, but for how long? Are they sustainable? Are you able to do it the rest of your life? Are you going to be able to afford this the rest of your life? That sort of thing. So that's what we're really looking at. And then also, like, for instance, with weight loss supplements, not a lot of those are well researched or well supported, and we don't have a lot of long-term research, so we really don't know how these things are going to impact us long-term. We also don't know if you have a medical history background, like heart disease or anything like that. We don't know how these things interact with other medications. So please be very cautious of those, and if you are going to look into something like that, please talk with your physician. A good diet plan will encourage adequate fiber, hydration, fruits and vegetables, and all of the macronutrients, so protein, fat, and carbohydrate. You should not feel deprived in this program, okay? Deprivation, I mean, it works, but again, for how long? So, final word, the best diet is not a diet, but a lifestyle, which you can take on beyond these 12 weeks. So it's not just the contest, hopefully, for most of you, it's hopefully beyond that and a lifetime change. Okay. Oh, we've got time. All right, so we have about 20 minutes. Questions, comments, anything that I discussed with housekeeping that you want to know about? Yes?
I just want to verify, the Thursday and the Saturday sessions are the same, correct?
Same topic?
Yes.
No, it's a different topic every time we have a session.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, and Renee didn't, I don't think she printed out the calendar yet, but she did finalize it, so I'm sure she'll get that to you if she hasn't already.
But if you can't make one, it's recorded.
Yes, if you can't make a session, it's on the YouTube site. So we'll make sure to get that on there. There'll just be a questionnaire if you have to do it through YouTube. Yeah, a little test.
That you have to hand in.
Yes. Because we want to, because otherwise people will just say, oh yeah, I watched it. So. Yeah.
I hate vegetables.
Okay.
And like at GNC and stuff like that, they have these like powder things. Do they work? Or
I don't have a yes or no answer for you because again, some of that stuff is not well researched, and I don't know the specific product that you are asking about. I know like you can talk to Tom. Like Tom, the trainer here, sells Juice Plus, and that seems to be a pretty good product. So you might want to ask him about that.
okay.
And again, I don't know what they have at GNC. They probably have several different things. So you can look into something like that. And you can also try to like chop up vegetables very fine and put it into like mixed dishes. I don't know, that might help mask it a little bit.
Okay.
Smoothies, I mean, I think,
Smoothies, yeah.
like if you make a smoothie with just some fruit and ice, throw some.
Well, fruit's not a problem. It's
No,
vegetable.
but you
It's
can put
your
vegetables.
Yeah,
in
you
it.
just taste it.
Do you like Bloody Marys? Do you like Bloody Marys? V8 spicy sodium. There's your vegetable.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, V8, it counts as vegetable. Yeah, I don't think it has fiber in it, but at least you'll be getting the antioxidants, and it does count as vegetable.
There you
But yeah, if you're going to do a smoothie, and if you want to try to do a little bit of vegetable in there, just start small, so that you don't drink it and you're like, ugh. Just maybe put a small amount of spinach in there, or a small amount of kale or whatever, and just gradually go up from there. Yeah, if you do the smoothie right, you probably won't be able to taste it at all, as long as you're not putting a ton of stuff in there, a ton of vegetable. Yeah.
I fall into the I hate water class.
Okay.
What's your feeling on, the packets, Crystal Light, Wine Punch, sugar-free, and it's, one for 16.9 ounces, and I actually put one in 32 ounces of water, just
Okay.
to kind of break up the monotony of the
Yeah,
water.
yeah, that's a little better. Yeah, you guys can do the Crystal Light packets, the Neos. I will tell you that there's a lot of preliminary research coming out about diet soda that says that our brain does not differentiate between regular sweet and diet sweet. And so it still kind of sets you up, when you drink the diet soda, it still kind of sets you up for cravings and fat storage. I haven't seen any research regarding like the crystallites in a meal, but I do have to wonder if, you know, if that will cause that sort of thing too. So, you know, just kind of monitor yourself too.
You mean the packets in water?
Yeah, so just kind of monitor yourself too. I mean, so if you look at the package, they don't contribute any calories, maybe 5 at the most for some of the
Right,
flavors.
right.
So they don't contribute any calories, but I'm just saying like some of this initial science that's coming out, I just wonder if it's gonna say, oh yeah, it really does make an impact on our blood sugars or doesn't. So,
Because I've done one packet, you know, it was always one packet per 16.9 ounce, so you know, a bottle of
yeah,
water.
yeah, a little bottle of
And then
water.
I do a 32 ounce, like a Gatorade bottle.
Uh-huh.
I do 2 of them in there. Now I backed up, I just put 1 in a 32 ounce bottle. It's just kind of breaks the monotony of just plain water.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think that, yeah, and I would definitely, I mean, for now, until we get more research, I would do that over a diet soda or,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yep,
I drink a lot of that, you know,
Okay.
water with 1 packet. But it's always a 32 ounce, you know, it's like empty Gatorade bottle or whatever.
sure, yeah. And that's pretty good, 1 packet for 32 ounces, that's,
Right.
yeah, that's pretty good. Uh-huh.
You say nuts, good source of protein. Are dry roasted nuts bad?
You know, it just depends on, you know, look at your ingredient list for like your dry roasted nuts he's asking about. So look at your ingredient list, you know, if they put honey in there or added, yeah, the salt is probably the biggest concern there. And yeah, and so you can eat nuts, just portion control with nuts because it does contribute, you know, a lot of calories to our diet. It's all heart healthy calories, but again, if you're only on a 1,200 calorie diet, the nuts really add up quickly. Yes.
What's your take on the B vitamin shots, the 5-hour energy and stuff like that are lower sugar but have some caffeine and like high B vitamins and stuff in there for an energy boost? How do you feel about that as far as body chemistry goes?
Yeah, you know, he's asking about like the B vitamin shots, like the 5-hour energy type things. And a lot of the research that's coming out really has more to do with kids taking that type of stuff as opposed to adults that I've found. You know, you kind of have to know your body with that stuff. Again, it's not well researched. That's my hang up with those types of things, is it's just not well researched. But you kind of have to know how your body responds. I mean, I went out with my cousins one time and they took a 5-hour energy shot in the morning, and by like 10 o'clock they were dragging, and I'm like, are you serious? So, so you know, you kind of have to.
That's a problem. No?
So you kind of have to
Obviously
know
everything
your
in
body.
moderation, but I was just wondering in general if there was.
Yeah, and watch the stuff with the caffeine too, because you know, with like shots and stuff like that, the caffeine is really concentrated in just a small portion of liquid. You know, whereas if you're doing coffee, you know, there's other antioxidants in the coffee, and it's, you know, it's just dispersed differently. So yeah, just be very cautious of the energy shots. But, you know, the other thing is to ask yourself why you need to do the energy shot, right? Like if you're getting a balanced diet, if you're getting adequate sleep, you know, you probably...
Well, I usually do it because, you know, if I'm going to have caffeine, I have caffeine in the morning, right? Maybe a cup of coffee or something like that.
Sure.
That's my caffeine in the morning. But on days where I'm going to be working out first thing in the morning and stuff, I don't want to take in all that liquid and coffee and stuff like that. So it's like, well, I'll do a 5-hour energy instead, and that'll be it for the day. I mean, that's like
Okay.
my caffeine for the day. I get it in a shot instead of getting
So
it
you're
in
not doing it
a
on
big
top
thing
of coffee, too.
coffee.
Yeah.
But, you know, but because of the, you know, high amounts of B vitamins and stuff like that in there, I mean, some of it's like, you know, 8,000%
Yeah.
niacin for the day. And it's like, okay, well, what's that do over a period of time? Is that an issue or not?
Yeah, and if you have a question, so, and he was mentioning too, like there's 8,000% for some of the B vitamins in the 5-hour energy shot. You can Google RDA for any type of vitamin, and you can find out what the upper tolerable level is for that day. And it will tell you, like, beyond this is toxic, or beyond this is not really going to matter because you're going to pee it out, whatever. So you might, you know, if you're ever looking at a label and you're like, geez, it's like, you know, 1,000%, 8,000% of something, you may want to just research that a little bit and make sure that it is safe, because vitamins and minerals can be toxic in excessive amounts. It takes a lot
Sure.
for B vitamins, but still, especially if you are doing several
Yeah, well,
shots a day, you really may be risking your health. Other questions? Yeah.
Yes.
What about eating before or after exercising? So the 6 a.m. class.
Okay. So,
Men were weighing in, so.
So she was asking about eating before and or after exercise. So yeah, it depends on what time you're working out during the day. So if you're doing it right away when you wake up, there's some research that says that there's some benefit to doing exercise on an empty stomach right away in the morning, but it really just depends on if you feel like you can give it 100%. Right? So if you are in an empty stomach and you're still able to go 100%, you feel great, okay. But if you're coming in, you're like, ooh, I'm dizzy, I gotta slow down, I feel like I might need to take the weights down or whatever, whatever, then you might want to eat something. The other thing is too, if you're gonna work out really early in the morning like that and don't have the appetite or the stomach to eat something, you may want to have a balanced, healthy snack at night. So a little bit before you go to bed so that you have some fuel for your muscles in the morning. That's another important thing too. If you wake up right away and you don't have anything in your stomach, you may not have the proper fuel for your muscles in the morning. So again, having a nighttime snack would be maybe a better option for you. Otherwise, if you're working out a little bit later in the day or at night, so like let's say you have lunch around noon or 1 o'clock, and then if you come right here at, 4 o'clock, then you might be okay not to have a snack, but otherwise if it's beyond that, you might want to have a snack about 30 minutes before you come in. Make sure it's something that you can digest well, and you might have to experiment with that. Some people can eat a big snack and come in here and work out no problem. Some people, their stomachs are a little bit more sensitive, so you kind of have to experiment with what works for you. You could do like a half a sandwich, you could do a banana and some cottage cheese, a lot of that sits well with a lot of people, but again, it's really dependent on you. Eating after, again, it just kind of depends. You'll want to definitely, if it's not meal time, you can do a snack right after you eat. I would recommend trying to get within that 30-minute window because that's a really good time to replenish your muscles, especially if you were doing a hard strength training workout. So you definitely want to give your muscles some nutrition after you work out. So you can do a little bit of a snack there within 30 minutes. Otherwise, if you're going straight home and having dinner, that's fine too. You can just have dinner. You don't have to do a snack and dinner. Does that answer that? Yes.
Breakfast is not easy. I get up at 5:30. Eating at 5:30 is not desirable. But I'll have like a glass of skim milk and vitamins. Is that enough?
Yeah, what I usually recommend, if your appetite's not the greatest right when you wake up, you could do something like that. You could have a little bit of, a glass of milk or a piece of fruit or something, and then maybe a little while later have something else.
Yeah, and then at like 8:30 I'll eat something.
Yeah, you can do that. The biggest thing is just trying to get your metabolism jump started. Even if you do a couple almonds or something, just to kind of wake your body up. And then maybe an hour or two later, that's when you have more of a subsequent or substantial breakfast. Yeah.
You mentioned having a snack before you go to bed. Is there an issue with eating before? I've heard you should not eat 3 hours before you go to bed.
Sure. So she's asking if that's a concern eating before you go to bed, like with your metabolism and digestion wise. Now, I will tell you that some of the trainers differ on this. So you might want to talk with your trainer too. But my professional opinion is that's not a problem. The biggest problem is, first of all, you want to have something healthy, not junk food or anything like that. The second thing is you do want to try to give yourself adequate time to digest before you lay down, especially if you have any reflux issues. You definitely want a 2-hour window there. So like if you're going to go to bed at 10, probably have your snack like around 8 or a little bit before. So you definitely don't want to go to bed and be like, oh, this is not sitting well. So in that sense, the 2-hour window is kind of nice. But yeah, some people will snack an hour before they go to bed, as long as it's something healthy. That's the biggest thing. And make sure it fits in with your meal plan too. You know, if you've got 200 calories to spare and it's 8 o'clock, sure, finish up your 200 calories with something healthy. Gentleman first, yes?
If it, you know, creamer and coffee,
Uh-huh.
better to have fat-free or sugar-free, and I know you're gonna say none, but
Well, you know, it kind of just, it's one of those things where you have to weigh out, right? Because sometimes the fat-free products have more sugar, whereas the full-fat products have less sugar, but then they've got the calories and the fat. So you kind of have to weigh out, you know, which one you prefer and how it fits in with your calorie meal plan. If you're only doing, you know, 1 or 2 a day, it's probably not going to contribute a significant amount of calories. But if you're doing several, you know, then okay, yeah, maybe I need to do a fat-free one or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those like, which is the lesser evil?
because I know now I do fat-free, you know, like hazelnut in my coffee.
Uh-huh. Okay.
I didn't know sugar-free would be better than the fat, I don't know.
Again, you know, you can compare the labels too to see, like, again, if the fat-free one has less sugar, but then the sugar-free one is, you know.
Got it.
So it's one of those things. And sometimes too, when you get the stuff that has a little fat in it, it helps you to feel a little more satisfied. But again, everybody's a little different.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Oh, wait, no. Oh, wait, sorry. You in the pink first.
Ask about what you thought about snacks at night, eating having carbohydrates. Because I had a trainer that said no carbs that are very low carbs after a certain point, and it worked. It really does work.
Sure.
So I just wondered what your thought was on that.
Yeah, so again, the trainers differ a little bit with the nighttime eating thing, and you may get different things from different trainers. You know, I think it's okay to have a little bit of carbohydrate. Yeah, you want to have more protein in your snack, so I would do a higher ratio of protein. And again, it depends on the type of carbohydrate that you're choosing. You know, make sure that it's like a fruit or you know, a whole grain type of thing, not a white carb or, you know, something like that.
If I didn't have a lot of carbohydrates at bedtime, I didn't wake up ravenous.
Okay.
You know, I just found that I was seeing more balance. Like if I had nuts or if I had, you know, something, string cheese, something like that with more protein in it, I didn't wake up just starving in the morning. Like if I would have popcorn before I go to bed.
Yeah, and that's a really good point to make too, especially if you feel like your blood sugars are a little bit sensitive to carbohydrates. So when we eat carbohydrates, our blood sugar takes a little bit of a spike and then it comes back down, and sometimes that does create hunger like you were talking about. So if you have more protein in the snack to help blunt those carbs, you're going to see more of a little peak and valley as opposed to a, you know, mountain, whatever, however you want to compare the two. So yeah, doing a little more emphasis on protein at night. But yeah, everybody responds to carbs a little bit different too. Okay, yes.
I just had a point about coffee. I like the creamers too, and I switched to mostly get some unsweetened almond milk, vanilla almond milk, unsweetened, and like a whole cup of that has like 30 calories in it. So
Yeah.
So I mostly put that in, and then just one
A
like
little break, it just breaks it
individual.
up.
Yeah, and then
One
buy those
little one.
individuals.
Once you can steal at the gas station.
Right, yeah. But yeah, the young ones, when they don't have those.
Stealing.
And then I'll put one of those in, and that like gives me like kind of pretty much
Yeah.
just to the flavor. And
Yeah.
it's a little bit of an adjustment, it's
Yeah.
not the same, but it really works for me.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know if everybody heard her, but she was just saying you could do a little bit of almond milk in your coffee as opposed to the creamer. Yes.
I have a question, that MyFitnessPal, I signed up for it, and I plug in my weight or height, all that stuff. And it gives me a calorie amount, and I've never hit that calorie amount. It's like too high for me.
Okay.
Is that normal, okay? Should I be really eating a lot more, or how does that generally work?
In my experience, I found that MyFitnessPal is pretty accurate. You know, make sure, yeah, that everything is up to date. Make sure that you're factoring in your exercise level, whatever your goal is. So make sure that's all right in there. But I think the biggest thing is too whether or not you're seeing results with what you're doing. So if you're seeing results with what you're doing, you're not feeling hungry all the time, you're feeling like it's satisfying to you, then I think that's okay. But if you're not seeing results, if you are feeling hungry, that sort of thing, then you may want to consider what MyFitnessPal is telling you. Any other experiences with MyFitnessPal and it telling you too many calories?
You gotta make sure you're putting it in the right sedentary level too. Sometimes people over or underestimate it.
Yeah, so putting in the right activity level or sedentary level, whatever applies to you. And remember, you guys are, I mean, if you're in the Biggest Loser program, you're on the higher side of the activity factor now.
Well, and it will subtract how much you can eat, like say if you did exercise, it'll tell you you can eat more, so you gotta be careful with that too.
Yeah.
Because you don't wanna start eating more, you're trying to balance all that, so.
Sure, yeah. Okay, was there somebody, yes.
My experience with it is I actually saw a dietitian, and they told me that I should, MyFitnessPal said just 1,200 calories, and then my dietitian told me 17. So I guess, I know I was talking to some other people, it almost is too low sometimes too.
Okay, and it could be. I mean, it's an estimate, right? Again, my experience with MyFitnessPal has been pretty accurate, but it could be, you know, especially again that the activity level is a huge factor.